Good afternoon and welcome. It's Sunday, March 29th, almost April 1st. And you're watching Roasting the Press. My name is Chuck Black, and my partner in crime, as always, is Richard Gagnon. Richard, how's it going?
I'm anxiously awaiting for April 2nd.
It sounds like you have it looks like, my apology, it looks like you have a wonderful sunny day out where you are.
Yeah, it was actually really quite nice.
Yeah.
I took a trip down to get some groceries, and the forestry service road was just about dry, which means that they're going to be able to grade it to get rid of the potholes and all that good stuff. So
that sounds wonderful.
yeah,
We have a lot of weird stuff here today, and it's all about Bill C-9, the Online Harms Act, and it's about the Israelis hating everybody else and everybody hating the Zionists, and it's got a lot of stuff to go through today. Sorry about that, but shall we continue?
Might as well. We've got a lot to do.
Yes, our first piece tonight is a pretty easily defined story. Now that Bill C-9 has passed, there it is. There seems to be a lot of media stories surfacing which talk about racism and white supremacy. Evidently, that's it. The swastika is important in Hindu mythology, so they made an example of the swastika in Bill C-9. They said swastikas aren't hate speech when you're Hindi, so that they allowed that in. But there's another example of what's going on. This is the March 20th, 2026 CBC News post under the title, Canadian Company Helping White Supremacists Fundraise from Hateful Live Streams. And according to that post, an investigation by CBC News Magazine, The Fifth Estate, has found the website known as Entropy, which launched in Calgary about 6 or 7 years back. It is, in fact, a safe haven for white supremacists and other extremists seeking to monetize their hateful content and their live streams to online audiences. Now, this post goes on to note that many creators have found a home on this Canadian platform after being kicked off and blocked from making any money on mainstream platforms such as YouTube, or for posting anti-Semitic and racist content that violates the streaming giants' terms of service. Now, the specific racist reasons why this Canadian company is banned from YouTube isn't really dealt with in detail, although the post does reference claims from the US-based Southern Poverty Law Center to support its belief that the Calgary-based Entropy hosts podcasters involved in racist activities. And the CBC post goes on to note that dozens of Entropy users feature swastikas, not just the Hindi users, but they feature swastikas and other Nazi symbology in their usernames and profile pictures, including the number 88, which, according to CBC, is a white supremacist numerical code for Heil Hitler, and 14, which, according to CBC News, is a reference to a white supremacist slogan known as the 14 Words. Now, to me, this sounds like crap, bullshit. It sounds like CBC doesn't know what they're writing about, and they were given a press release from somebody else. As for Entropy, I looked. It's not even banned from YouTube, despite what the CBC or the Southern Poverty Law Center might think. The Entropy YouTube site is still available online. And I'll go so far as to say it's not even a platform. As outlined on the March 14th, 2020 Entropy on YouTube post, how to get started with Entropy. Entropy is an app. Here's an overview of what it does.
Entropy is a platform of interaction tools designed to wrap around an existing YouTube or Twitch stream and to be used alongside or as an alternative to their built-in live chat. In Entropy, streamers enhance interaction, avoid censorship, cut payment processing fees in half, and give viewers a more memorable experience. All our features enhance meaningful live engagement and solve specific issues that streamers face. To get started, go to entropystream.live and click Start Streaming. Then log in with the YouTube or Twitch account you typically stream from. To start an Entropy session, you will need to have started streaming on YouTube or Twitch. If you are using YouTube, you can also use a scheduled stream or an unlisted stream to activate your Entropy session. As soon as your stream or live event is created, you can click Go Live on a show layout thumbnail to start your live Entropy session. Entropy will automatically detect the stream on your channel and embed it for you. If this is your first time using Entropy, before you start a session, you will be prompted to set your channel handle. This is used in your unique Entropy URL that viewers will use to connect to your streams. Once you have chosen your handle and started your Entropy session, all you need to do is give your Entropy URL to your...
Anyway, it goes on like that for another 2 minutes. This is an app. It's designed to help you access YouTube and other streaming services for half the cost those services charge. It's not hate speech. It's an app. Richard, am I nuts or what do you think?
So they charge for that?
Yeah, they charge. It's a for-profit thing.
Okay, well, because I can't afford to be able to pay for streaming. When I'm on Twitch already.
Yeah. They say it saves money on Twitch as well, but you're missing the point. CBC calls this hate speech.
Yeah, and I didn't see anything about that.
I didn't see anything about hate speech too. I did see one sentence where they talked about being able to bypass censorship from the large platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But YouTube, I don't know. YouTube bans you for a whole bunch of reasons that have nothing to do with hate speech.
Right. They just ban you for the fun of banning you.
So I'm not really sure what CBC is trying to get across in its investigation by a CBC News magazine. Obviously, you go.
No, that's interesting. What are they trying to do? Because to me, it sounds like another streaming platform for profit, of course.
It is a for-profit streaming platform, yes.
So, that Facebook was free. Twitch is free, but if I got to pay for it, then I don't know if it's worth my time because I'm already paying for StreamYard.
No, that's fair. I agree with that completely. But to me, it's an app, and it's a commercial decision whether or not you want to go on it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Sounds interesting.
I don't know where CBC wants to go with this. They say they did investigating for their Fifth Estate show, but the only thing they reference is the Southern Poverty Law Center, which I think hands out press releases on this stuff. Right.
Interesting. Another thing for me to look at, I guess.
Yeah. So you don't think it's hate speech? You think it's an app that's probably worth looking at for live streaming at some point?
Well, I'll tell you one thing: if it is going to be hate speech and they're going to disconnect you, then why pay for it?
Yeah, good point. CBC might be telling a story in much the same way that, remember the largest YouTube channel focused on news was demonetized and banned because of an article on CBC about a year and a half ago.
Oh,
that was Mario Zendalea. I think we even talked about it.
So they took off a monetized.
They took off a monetized YouTube channel focused on news because CBC talked about how it's hate speech.
Oh, okay. And that's what basically Facebook has done to me.
Yeah.
They said that I was promoting human trafficking.
Yeah.
But they obviously don't know what human trafficking is.
I don't I don't think they understand everything. I don't think they understand anything. They just don't want you to talk about it.
And probably somebody complained about it, and as soon as the complaint goes in, that's it. You're shut down.
Yeah, makes sense. So if you don't like anybody on Facebook, you put in a complaint about them, and they'll immediately be shut down.
Yeah.
That is censorship.
Go figure, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Rocky.
You want to go on to our next piece?
Sure.
Okay. Next piece is about a platform I have talked about every once in a while in the past. It's something called where are we? It's something called Canada Land. It's a leftist platform put together about 8 years ago, maybe, by an ex-CBC stringer who couldn't get a job at the CBC, so he started off his own online podcasting service, and he makes about $20,000 a month. He's been doing that for the last 7 or 8 years, and it's essentially an independent Canadian podcast network and media company founded in 2013. That's longer. That's almost 20 years. By a guy named Jesse Brown. It's also having trouble over its recent coverage of anti-Semitic activities. On or around March 26th, that's just a couple days back, Reddit restricted the Canada Land subreddit. Subreddits are things put together by Reddit where people can talk about coverage of news stories and stuff like that. And Reddit restricted the Canada Land subreddit, likely automatically after banning key accounts involved in what they say is a privacy or mod abuse scandal. And according to the story, the trigger was a March 21st, 2026 public expose accusing Canada Land publisher Jesse Brown and or staff at Canada Land of creating a Canada Land hosted webpage with a hidden tracking pixel, a tracking system using a site like Track My IP. And this was a way for Canada Land to figure out where all of their readers were located. And there was also a second bot put in the page featuring a critic of Canada Land, journalist Mark Burry's high school yearbook photos, which he put in there. And people would look at Mark Burry's high school yearbook photos on the Canada Land Reddit page, and he would get the IP addresses, the local email addresses of people who were objecting to Canada Land coverage. Now, they also used a couple of other things, sending deceptive phishing links under a false pretense to Burry and other media figures, critics, to capture the IP addresses as well. So it was quite the sleazy thing. Canada Land promises to protect their data, but they use some pretty sleazy technology to make sure they got more data than perhaps you should be wanting to give them. Now, the Burry mod was found out by Reddit, and first off, the Burry mod revoked access to Canada Land, saying that Canada Land couldn't get into the Burry mod anymore, citing eroding trust. Reddit then banned both Burry and the Jesse Brown Reddit account, which restricted and mostly shut down the subreddit. So these two organizations, these two guys were looking for information on how to get back at all the people who agreed or disagreed with their coverage of anti-Semitism in Canada. And so they were both shut down eventually by Reddit. Now, Canada Land confirmed the subreddit was locked down by Reddit, not by Canada Land. And Canada Land PR people described their own journalistic investigation into what they term suspicious and manipulative activity and years-long deceptive activities by multiple accounts violating Reddit's rules. Now, Canada Land said they plan to publish their findings soon after, giving parties a chance to respond, but they haven't done so yet. They also explicitly denied involvement in the phishing, which is, sending fake emails to get some sort of attention out of the people. And they also insisted their investigation only involved messages to 4 Reddit accounts and to Bury. Now, the drama is directly tied to backlash over Canada Land's 6-part Winter 2025 investigative podcast series under the title, What is Happening Here? This series was co-produced with the Canadian Jewish News. It was hosted by Canada Land owner and publisher Jesse Brown, who is also well known to be Jewish. And the series examines the sharp post-October 7th, 2023 rise in what Canada Land called anti-Semitism in Canada. It included interviews with affected Jews. It included high-profile figures like Indigo CEO Heather Reisman and a whole bunch of anti-Zionist activists. And it asked the questions: Is complaining about Israeli foreign policy anti-Zionism, or is it racist? Sensible, logical questions, especially given our current situation and the war in Iran. Now, the Mark Bury, that's Mark Bury up there, his investigation appears to have stemmed from Jesse Brown and Canada Land's efforts to probe critics they suspected of creating false online identities to promote the foibles of people they called anti-Semitists, and many of these people that Mark Bury supported were also vocal opponents of the anti-Semitism series. Now, this turned an already polarized discussion about Zionism and anti-Semitism into one involving alleged privacy violations, mod abuse, and it eventually caused Reddit's intervention and the banning of Canada Land and Bury from Reddit. In short, the series polarized its own fans, and the resulted feud escalated to doxing, to mod scandals, and Reddit finally locked it down. It only came up into the public note over the last couple of days. Right now, it's mostly on X, but nobody in the legacy media wants to talk about it. And to be fair, Canada Land maintains the Reddit sub is independent from the Canada Land Corporation and frames their probe as legitimate journalism, exposing other people's rules breaking. While critics see it as retaliation against dissent over the series, bad publicity over the series. The subreddit remains inaccessible to new posts and new comments as of an hour or so ago, although the older content may still be viewable. Richard, I know this is a complex post. I hope I did it justice. But these are people who consider themselves to be useful legacy sources for journalism. And they're just going at each other with whatever tools happen to be available, legal or not. What do you think?
Yeah, they're trying. So long, what I'm concerned about is, are they telling the truth?
I don't know.
I mean, if they're not telling the truth, then forget it. There's no point in making any comments about them, because I'd be helping them out. Mm-hmm. So I'd much rather just say, well, if let's find out if they are telling the truth on their stories.
I think that's a good idea. The first thing to do about that would be to reference Reddit's accounts of what's going on. And I would suggest we'd also need to be willing to look at the 6-part investigative podcast series. What is happening here? I think that'd be the first place to start.
Yeah.
And then Mike Bury would be worthwhile looking into in a little bit more detail as well. He is affiliated with Concordia University. That's also been trying to ban independent Palestinian activists from speaking publicly about Israeli interactions in the Gaza. So he has ulterior motives, and everybody has ulterior motives. But you're right. The best thing to do is to first check out the facts and see what's actually going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't really follow too much on Reddit at all.
Yeah.
It just never really appealed to me. And I don't think that if they have videos, I can't right click on it to save it.
Yeah.
So if I have to do a real-time capture on their videos, then it's too much work.
Yes, I see that.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I have heard people say that the various Reddits about various news stories and news outlets is the online repository of legacy news.
Right. Exactly.
So the Globe and Mail has a Reddit, and CBC has a Reddit, and sometimes they talk about bad things those outlets publicize, and sometimes it just I find it to be a fairly superficial discussion of the news of the day.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And as I said, I just don't really watch Reddit that closely. So whatever you might talk about is the closest I'll get to it.
Yeah. Well, now I'm thinking that's a slight at me. I'm going to have to dox you. It is a weird thing, but it's not the only one of those things I have tonight. Like I said, a lot of stuff's been going on about online hate and Bill C9, and it all seems to be coagulating around CBC and legacy media. And I got another one here. This is where is it? This is the February 11th The Maple Post under the title of "A Mossad-linked Israeli organization is trying to shut down the Maple." Now, the Post accuses something called the Shirat Haldin, which is an Israeli lawfare organization that most people in North America know as the Israeli Law Center. And Maple staff accuse the Israeli Law Center of attempting to shut down the Maple, which is essentially a reader-funded leftist publication that focuses on the working class, but also carries a lot of articles critical of Israeli actions in the Middle East. And talks quite disparagingly about the current U.S.-Israeli war in Iran. Now, according to the Maple, on January 25th, Shirat Dahin tweeted that it has issued urgent legal notices to the payment processors for Maple, in this case, Stripe, Apple Pay, and all major credit cards networks. And Shirat Dahin demanded that these payment processors cut off all service to the Maple. That concerns me. Shirat Dahin has boasted online that its mission is to bankrupt terrorism one lawsuit at a time. And it's obviously equating the leftist, the Maple, with a terrorist organization. Now, its activities have included suing a whole bunch of organizations, including setting up a $1 billion lawsuit against Al Jazeera last year in 2025. And it's also created a lot of legal challenges against a lot of people and groups who support something called BDS, which is, I think, a Palestinian organization. Now, the Maple also says that an Israeli media outlet covering the Shirat Dahin campaign reported that the organization has also written to the chief of police for Toronto, where the Maple is located, and the Ontario Provincial Police Commissioner and Ontario's Attorney General, calling for a criminal investigation into the Maples activities. Now, the Post notes that the Maple has published a wide range of reporting and analysis articles concerning Israeli-Palestine since they were founded as a publication. They broke stories on Canadian arms sales to Israel. They provided extensive media criticism, investigations into the Israeli lobby, and they provided detailed looks at the repression pro-Palestinian voices face in Canada. And I looked through their stuff this morning. I read most of it, and I think they are leftist turds, but they are not fascists. They are not anti-Zionists, but they do have some fairly legitimate concerns with political activity in Israel at the moment. And again, this is another one of the very recent stories about weird things going on behind the scenes in Canadian media. Richard, what do you think?
Yeah, that is really weird. Of course, anything to do with Israel is, to me, is such a waste of time, because they are that Netanyahu fella is being such a terrorist. So, and he is a terrorist, but I suppose that would be considered hate speech by calling him a terrorist. But still,
yeah.
Of course, I don't really care much for Bill C9. I could care less about it. But so if that Dar Netanyahu fella decides to come after me, he'll have to come after me under the Bill C9.
Fair enough. I agree with you 100%. What's going on in Israel is a political issue, and it's not nice. Israel seems to be almost a rogue nation, feeling the need to go to war against almost any one of their neighbors, and dragging them close to the precipice of thermonuclear war.
Exactly. Yeah, and they are. I don't care what people say, but they are promoting violence. But yes, they are owned by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers definitely want war.
So, yeah, there's a real connection, a real weird connection between Israel and the Rothschilds and Jeffrey Epstein, who explained publicly that he was an agent of the Rothschilds at some point. It's so bizarre.
It is. Yep, absolutely. So anyways, yeah, we're seeing all these weird things starting to develop.
Yes.
And I know that the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers are both heavily involved with Israel.
Yes.
Because Israel is perfect candidate for them to use to get wars going, to kill people.
Yes.
And of course, to put fear into the population. Hey, we're going to get Third World War. Well, actually, we are past the Third World War now, but the nuclear war. We're going to have this nuclear war. Turns out that nuclear is not that big of a deal.
Yeah, this causes me a lot of problems. This is something that came out something like 20 minutes before we went live an hour or so ago. A pro-Palestinian European Parliament member has been denied entry into Canada to attend a conference. And this was earlier today. She was turned back at the border, even though she claims that the Canadian government had already approved her. I think she's supposed to go to a university in Southern Ontario, and she's supposed to explain the Palestinian perspective in the ongoing war in the Middle East right now. And she says she was denied entry because of a call from the Israeli Mossad.
Yep. So those of you who don't believe me, but Netanyahu controls who we get to have in our country.
Evidently, in this one instance, absolutely.
That's happening in a lot of other instances too, I'm sure.
I'm not sure, but this one just seemed particularly noticeable. I wasn't even looking for these things today. They just plopped all on my desk this morning.
Geez, that's
But
amazing, isn't it?
yeah, isn't that just so bizarre? All this is going on. A month ago, you had such a difficult time finding overt areas of censorship in Canada. There were things you could see. There was subtleties. There was a general consensus that new media outlets like us do better stories than the legacy media. There was a general consensus that funding was being cut off for new medias while legacy media was being supported by government. But there wasn't the overt censorship that we seem to be seeing here this week. Any one of these stories would be top of news in any legacy media newscast 10 years ago. And now they're just, oh, yeah, we knew that stuff was going to happen. It's a good example, but let's move on.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, all this stuff I knew was going to happen.
How so?
I've been talking about it for years.
Yes.
So is Alex.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
So is Alex Jones and Rogan and all them. They've all been talking about this stuff for years.
David Icke and just the new guy who used to be on Fox. I forget his name these days.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, everybody's been talking about it, but now it's coming out in public, and I'm not really sure where we should be going for with this.
It's coming out in public, but not so much in mainstream, which is where all the sleepy people are still there.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think that the mainstream refuses to do anything unless they can cite a press release from a government organization. That way they retain their perception that they are staying to the facts, just like Jack Webb.
Yeah, the facts that are created by the government.
Yes. Yeah, I no easy way to get around that.
Yep. And does the government tell the truth?
I don't remember the government ever telling the truth for anything.
For a long time.
Yeah. Here's Marlene Brown, who I've never seen online before. She mentioned two things that I think are important to note. The Balfour Declaration. I don't know if we've ever explicitly talked about this before, but the Balfour Declaration goes way back to the World War I period, pre-World War I maybe. And it was one of three different documents where the British government at the time promised the Middle East to three different organizations.
Yep.
And they've all been fighting over who really gets the Middle East since then.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think Marlene also mentioned something about Albert Pike and the three world wars. I hope we're not following prophecy exactly in that area, but we seem to be, and there's a lot of overlap between what Pike talked about and what's going on now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, these prophecies, they're all there, and I can see them happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're happening. And of course, she also made a comment about 1917. Yeah. 1917.
Yeah,
that's when income tax came into play.
Yeah, all sorts of these things started happening at about that time.
Yep. Well, that's because Rothschilds and Rockefellers got the tax system put into place so they could collect a whole pile of money from the people.
Absolutely. It made the banks permanently rich.
Actually, it made the central banks permanently rich.
Yeah, you're right. The regional banks are slowly being weaned out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyways, a lot of this stuff is starting to, I hope people are starting to see the connections here. The dates and times and everything else that's occurring.
There is a lot of synergy in the stuff we talk about. All you have to do is go back a little bit and just collect some information. All sorts of weird stuff happens.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we are told that our reading of history makes us conspiracy theorists.
I know. Yeah, but I'm not a theorist at all. This is reality.
We are conspiracy analysts.
Yeah, and of course, I don't. Anything I've done in the past has already come true.
Yes.
So I don't really care what these fools that may come up with saying, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm not. All of my theories have come true, so it can't be. So the declaration was contained in a letter dated November 2nd, 1917 from Arthur Balfour.
Arthur Balfour. He was the Prime Minister of England at the time, I think.
Right. Conspiracy realist. I like that.
Me too. Shall we go on to our next piece now that we've psyched everybody else up?
Okay, let's get going.
Now, here's my favorite post of tonight. It's the March 26th Yak Stack on X post. It's under the title of Bill C9 passed. It's time to celebrate. Remember, I say that so much of this stuff is built around Bill C9 and the anti-hate laws that are coming into play. Yak Stack argues that no matter what, it doesn't matter if the legislation was intended to be a federal sword pointed at anyone who dares say the wrong thing online. Now, Yak Stack, who I think is a Calgary politician these days, not totally sure, but I've talked to him online once or twice before. He's a very knowledgeable guy. He argues that, at least under Bill C9, a straight white Christian Canadian man has a race, has a religion, has a national origin, has a sex, has an age, and has a sexual orientation. Now, every single one of those characteristics is explicitly protected under the same framework, Bill C9, the same framework they built to regulate online speech and maybe also censor straight, white, Christian Canadian men. But they can't because they fucked it up. At least according to the Yak Stack. The legislation will just get people confused, and they'll start doing the sort of things we've talked about today with all those news outlets talking about terrible things and being fought by all those other news outlets who are doing terrible things. Now, Yak Stack says we should celebrate the unintended foolishness of the legislation. Richard?
Yep. Yeah. I'm ignoring everything to do with all these bills. They don't apply to man. They only apply to the slaves of this world.
I think they're all so stupid. It's like the Carney government wants to be perceived of as doing something. But they're getting more and more control over smaller and smaller pieces of real estate. At this rate, in 5 years, the Liberal government will control nothing but Parliament Hill.
Yep, and Parliament Hill is going to become useless.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll just be an appendix to our society.
Any more comments before we go on? We got another piece, two pieces, and I think one of them is particularly interesting.
Okay.
I want to talk about the March 11th, 2026 Henshaw Ocean on YouTube post under the title, Most Realistic, Powerful, Prepared, Blockbuster Submarine. This is a sales pitch for a submarine the Canadian Navy is expected to buy sometime over the next 6 years. And Marianne likes this for some reason. You want to cue it up?
Well, I entitled it Worship the Warship. Okay?
Worship the Warship.
Worship the Warship.
Okay.
And I think it's very interesting of the name of the term warship, WORSHIP and WARSHIP. I tried to trace back the meanings of the words, wasn't able to, but maybe some of our viewers can see this. Let's take a look at worshiping the warship. And when you watch this, bear in mind that there are an awful lot of, let's say, zealous actors on the stage who love to just shoot things and cause wars and make money.
Here we go. Worship the warship. According to the March 11th, 2026 Hanshua Ocean on YouTube post.
In a shifting global landscape, uncertainty is closing in on Canada's seas. The Royal Canadian Navy now faces a critical choice. What it needs now is not a blueprint for the distant future, but real, proven strength to break through the waves ahead. KSS-3, Batch 2. When readiness is at stake, the only answer is speed. Every year, one of the world's largest shipbuilding enterprises delivers more than 45 large-scale vessels and naval platforms. Through automation and smart shipbuilding technologies, quality and speed are no longer a trade-off. They are achieved together, turning fleet-level capability into reality. Hanwha Ocean does not just promise, we prove. Within 6 years of contract signing, capability is deployed to Canadian waters. Security cannot be an experiment. KSS-3 Batch 2 has already faced real seas, proving its performance and reliability where it matters most. Since 1993, the KSS series has been forged in real waters, accumulating real-world experience in high-risk environments. Built on that legacy, the latest KSS-3 is not a concept, but an immediately deployable force, delivered without delays.
Pretty scary stuff. Pretty scary stuff. So they glorify this into a glorified advertisement with more money than trailers for the latest Hollywood epic films.
I remember the voiceover announcer. He voiceover announces all the short commercials for the latest Hollywood epics.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, it is. It is the same thing. So what they're doing is taking brutal battle. I mean, what we should actually show you the carnage of people who are subjected to this stuff, the blood, the kids, the dead, the injured, the heart. Like, take a look at that and juxtapose it with that trying to glorify like a whale. Did you see the imagery? Look at the whale. It's like some natural thing. Now, if you listen to it very carefully, within 6 years of signing contract, we promise to deliver. Deliver what? What are you delivering? So suppose a national corporation like, I don't know, maybe offhand, maybe like Canada, signs this thing, and we'll get to this in a minute. So what is it guaranteed of within 6 years? It's a deployable, right?
It's a submarine.
Are they going to bring back so many bodies? Are they going to bring back territory? And next thing is, last time I checked, I didn't see Canada in a war with anybody. So why are we glorifying to try to get this?
I want to get back into the glorification. I understand that the Canadian government and all national government sometimes need a long procurement time to have their military properly armed and ready to go. But this is a promotional video targeted at mid-level accountants and bureaucrats in the federal government. These are people who are boring, dull, but secretly believe Bruce Willis is going to be on that submarine when it shows up.
And then a submarine like that is a great thing. They just forget all the carnage, the death, the hurt, the harm, the disparity. They just don't look at that. They glorify this in some kind of an epic movie.
Yes, and everybody's going to be happy. They're going to spend 5, 10, 15 times as much of the Canadian purse as they're supposed to spend to get a fairly typical diesel electric submarine. But they got really good videos, and these mid-level bureaucrats, instead of sitting at their computer keyboard for 8 hours a day, get 2 hours off to shuffle off into a room and get this presentation from the salesman.
And why so much money for something? Last time I checked, Canada's not in any war. And why are you trying to promote?
Again, I understand
yeah,
that how procurement goes these
yeah.
days. They decide they have to buy things in advance.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that's the problem the Americans got into. Historically, 1776, 1865, 1914, whenever a war wound down, the American government shut down their military procurement. They decided after 1949 they would keep the system functioning. So naturally, it had to procure stuff. And within 10 years, President Eisenhower in the U.S. was warning of the military-industrial complex. So that's what we got a smaller bunch of in Canada. But I'm just impressed at what that video, particularly the first few minutes of it, says about the bureaucrats who purchase this sort of stuff, or even the colonels and the generals. Richard?
Yeah, the what's interesting is those are those commercials, but if you're watching Pluto.tv at all, the Canadian government, every single commercial break is playing something about Build Back Bigger.
Oh, really?
Oh, what?
Yes, every single commercial on every single channel on this thing, they'll play that, and the Canadian government is paying for all this, and it's a commercial basically encouraging people to say they're investing, they're going to put people to work buying Canadian lumber, Canadian steel, Canadian everything's going to be Canadian.
Okay.
To make all this stuff happen and basically put people back to work. Because of course they start off by saying that the Canadian government built the St. Lawrence River, the freighting system in there back in 1950s.
Yeah.
And they want that to be they want that to be pushed out to the people, saying we're going to bring this back, and we're going to be building everything Canadian. And we're not going to deal with American stuff for other people around the world. Well, they'll deal with some, but we're going to build everything ourselves. And this is what I was pushing a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. I told Carney, I says, just invest in Canada. Don't go off investing in some other country.
Carney?
You told Carney this?
You told Carney this?
Yeah, on my show.
Oh, okay. You mentioned it on your show.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts then about a propaganda video trying to bring in an audience of, we said middle federal,
50-year-old, slightly fat middle management?
Yeah, to invest and support the idea of a very well-armed military battleship?
Well, this is something that they should have done before the West Edmonton Mall put in all those submarines.
But what do you think about the propagandized video to
invest
it
in
is idealizing war.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I would much rather see them idealize doing what they're supposed to do. The military is supposed to protect Canada.
Yeah.
Not go out to some other country and fight a war. We're supposed to protect our borders.
Well, one of the things I will throw out there, because I know that you talked about it before, Richard, in common law, is there a difference between the people who live in Canada and the Canada Corporation as per its investments? What difference are we seeing there?
The Canada Corporation is bankrupt. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
How about I go with the corporate structure that is put together for investments into the corporate nation called Canada?
Anything. Well, got to realize I can't really buy into that because the value of the Canadian for the economies is zero. So what are you investing? You're investing zero into zero. That's what I'm trying to get at. Well,
okay. Let me try this another angle. Okay. I'm where I'm sort of edging towards is when we see the government funds going into propaganda to idealize or to glamorize warships, to encourage more investment into the let's just say in the military industrial complex, into war machines. So why is everybody going to invest your money into these war machines? If nobody's threatening the people of Canada that we're aware of, what could be happening for investors in Canadian funds that they want to do that?
Can I? You go, Richard. You
Yeah.
talk first, and I want to say something.
The investing in the military is not an investment, but it is a requirement to fund the military, because the military needs to be there to protect our borders. That's the core of military.
Can I say something?
Okay.
I respect the need for a military, but historically, militaries have always grown out of well-regulated militias. That's why the Americans could shut down their factories after the First World War, because the essence of self-defense were direct purchases of weapons by the populace, because guns were allowed even in Canada up until fairly recently. Guns were allowed. Guns were encouraged in certain specific areas. And secondarily, the manufacturing capacity needed to build airplanes and tanks were embedded in the automobile industry and the airplane industry, places like Bombardier and places like the Avro Arrow. So it is very easy to flip the technology around when a war was coming. And you didn't necessarily need a government buying all this stuff directly. What I dislike these days isn't so much that sometimes we need weapons. I accept that as that's the way the world works. But it's the demonization of the weapons held by individuals in favor of a public monopoly on weapons. I would say a good case could be made that most of the killing and the maiming and the destruction going on in the world today is caused by national governments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'd be in favor of legislation saying people can own guns, but governments can't. They're too dangerous to hold guns.
You make the point. I think what you're making, if I can just say this as bluntly and clearly that everybody can understand it. Is it possible the government showcasing weapons, not because it has an external, and I say enemy, I don't think it's an enemy to the people, it's an enemy to its corporate investments, or it wants to. Is it showcasing this to also say to its own people, look at what we have, better stay in line? I'm just putting
it. Could be. Yeah. It could also be saying that we are useful. You couldn't buy any weapons if it wasn't for us. Of course, we're the ones who said you couldn't buy weapons.
We're a player on the board.
We're a player on the board.
Give us your oil. Give us a stake in here. We're going to get a military base.
And you're not just going to buy Canadian. I think Canadians are happy to buy Canadian without any help at all from the government. It's the public-private partnerships that governments are creating to build beholding companies that can pretend to be Canadian. That's what causes my problems. Does that make sense?
I do. Yeah. And so it goes to the public-private. That's why I asked the difference between a publicly invested on it's the Corporation of Canada, Corporation of Ontario, the Corporation of Alberta. It's all on the stock exchange. It's Edgar's. It's there. Okay. Yeah. So if we've got these investment companies and we're all divided in this spider of companies, what my question is, if you're bringing in warships and you want people to worship the warships, another point, why are you bringing them in? Yeah. What are you doing? Are you fisting a muscle to the people? Are you fisting a muscle to the other corporate nations and their resources, saying we're going to be we want some of that?
At the very least, they are feeding us propaganda. They are telling us stories that make us feel government should be essential, whether it's an ad on Pluto or the ad for the submarine.
Well, it's glamorizing something that's just disgusting.
Yeah, I think the government isn't necessarily needed to do any of this
No,
stuff,
glamorizing
self-defense
murder.
or anything else.
No, you're glamorizing murder.
And I agree. You keep saying glamorizing murder.
Glamorizing
I'm a
murder.
more practical person, but the submarine there is glamorizing war. There's no
Yep.
overt deaths there,
Yep.
but the subtext is always we can blow the crap out of you anytime we want with this new submarine.
Yep. Yep.
Makes sense.
It does. I think it's disturbing that they've invested so many funds into. You don't have your hockey shield on. They've
Yeah, I know.
invested-
I was having trouble seeing the
Yeah,
screen
You
today.
haven't invested.
over there.
Yeah, you haven't. That they've invested to that extent to try to persuade a certain mentality, bureaucratic and mentality, to support it. Even just in here, I mean, why glamour? Like, why can't you put some money into getting a bridge or a park for kids? Right? Why?
Well, they insist they're doing that as well. Just
What-
the
Why not?
better videos come out of military
Why not
procurements.
Why not? I'd be showcasing to the people if you wanted to extend Algonquin Park to families to go up and have a better range of off-grid camping or green parks.
But you wouldn't have the announcer from Die Hard
No,
or
you
The
wouldn't.
Hunt for Red
You
October.
wouldn't.
You'd
You
have someone more pedestrian.
Yes, you would.
Any more comments before we go down to our next piece?
Yeah, my one comment is how much money it is. Look how much money they're wasting on military, and look at the number of
Yes.
street people. Look at the veterans that are living on the streets.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I bet the cost of building that video would
Yeah.
support a lot of veterans in a style to which they would like to become accustomed.
Exactly.
Shall we go on to our next piece?
Sure.
Okay, this is yours. Our kids are under attack.
Yes, they always are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, and this one talks about vaccinations.
Oh, dear.
No.
Here we go. March 28th, Mongo Minds on BitChute posts, our kids are under attack.
Vaccinating infants against risks that don't exist. That's the issue that I have. You could quantify any risk. I mean, what's the risk of dying in a motor vehicle accident on your way to school? There's a quantifiable risk to that, right? You could look at the stats, across the United States and say there is some risk. Okay, well, do we stop putting kids in the car to go to school? At some point, there has to be a quantifiable risk that we're trying to prevent. So now you introduce to their little immune system, before they've even had breast milk, a synthetic vaccine that's causing an immune reaction to a disease that they don't have, that they weren't exposed to first few days of life. And we wonder why we have skyrocketing rates of autism and skyrocketing rates of attention deficit disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And when I graduated high school in 1988, I didn't know a single autistic child.
Yeah.
I didn't even know a family
It's crazy.
that knew an autistic child. My 16-year-old daughter now knows 10. I mean, she's a sophomore in high school. She knows 10. It's a very commonplace. A friend has mild Asperger's. I'm like, what?
There you have it.
Well,
Interesting.
how many- yeah.
The guy made some interesting points there. All this stuff, and most people just don't realize it, except for people out here. None of the kids that are being born out here are getting any of these poisons put into their little bodies.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the problems that is before parents is that they're pressured into having to give these vaccines, and with the threat that they'll come and take their children literally by Child Protective Services.
There's a sliding scale in it. They start by saying your kid won't go into school,
Yeah.
or your kid won't be loved by his schoolmates, and it goes down further, and it comes up later on.
Yeah.
So there's a subtext.
It's disturbing, what you bring up. It's very true. Yeah, very
Yep.
true.
And when I saw this guy presenting this, and he says that his daughter knows 10 kids in school that have autism. And of course, I didn't know anybody with autism when I was going to school.
No.
It didn't exist. So even though we did have what they called vaccines back then, but the thing is, though, is that they didn't have all the poisons that they're putting into them now.
Yeah.
I would agree. And I keep saying more studies should be undertaken, but that's dumb. There are a number of good studies on the books right now giving a good overview of what's really going on with those things.
Don't
Let's
need
see.
any more studies.
Interesting comment you just made, Richard, about the difference in the vaccines. I mean, no vaccines are good, but some of us were subjected to vaccines like 50 years ago and so on. And what they're getting now is far more like if you get this same tetanus shot or the same polio shot, it's not the same, is it? What are they doing to it now, Richard, that they weren't 40, 50 years ago?
They're putting in new poisons just to make sure, they're under the justification that they need this to make sure that it works properly. Now, what does that mean? Works properly?
Adjuncts, mercuries.
Yeah, they
I
put
don't
in.
know. I've said this before. They do the reformulations every couple of decades to make sure they can copyright the new formulations.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
use a revenue stream.
Yeah.
I would also argue that the preservatives
Yeah.
and the formulations that come out of the preservatives are far more chemical and carcinogenic now than they were before. The drug companies argue that these formulations will have a longer shelf life and they're more cost effective, but they hurt people more. They especially kids.
Marlene made a couple of comments there. She's just made 3 comments.
Good God, she's a.
Yeah.
Let's go down the list.
Oh,
Polio
the
vaccines.
in the 50s and early 60s had a
Yeah, the SB40.
Average 40 monkey kidney cancer. Yeah, I agree. The testing and vaccines, even that far back,
yeah.
these things had side effects, guaranteed.
Mhm. Yep.
Ooh, this is a
Right.
personal aside.
Yeah.
Yeah, cancer is.
Don't. She doesn't want to post it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't. It might be private, but I will say, it has disturbed and destroyed people's. I mean, as Marlene said, immune systems, and it's causing autoimmune reactions. It's causing cancers. It's causing Lou Gehrig's. It's causing MS.
Yeah.
So many cancers. So many of this from these vaccines. Bloody hell. Okay, thanks. She said to post it. Okay. Sorry, Marlene. I was just trying to be considerate of what. You see, yeah, I know lots of people who have said, I got fucking cancer. I got MS, and these are the vaccines. This is what it's bloody doing.
Yep.
I'm gonna go a little farther into this. This discussion so far is operating under the assumption that we're not going into Agenda 2030 at some point. We're not supposed to be dying.
But they're doing it so bloody slowly, and so,
Yeah.
they're doing it so merciless. Like they're just feeding off. Like it's disgusting. They're just feeding off the stress and the suffering.
I don't know the subtext, but I know there is some fairly good documentation explaining that the elites want us all to die at a certain point in order to maintain their rule.
She made a couple more comments there.
Yeah, the turbo cancers. I know of a couple of people who have gotten the turbo cancers.
Yep.
Yeah.
From the vaccine, the COVID vaccines. Yep.
Yeah.
Rapid onset. Rapid.
Those things are brand new. There seems to be no other excuse for those things. They seem to be environmentally induced, or they seem to be vaccine induced.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's either the food, living too close to the dump, or living too close to the electrical outlet, or maybe too many vaccines, too many of the wrong type of vaccines.
Yeah. Exactly. So I guess that was a pretty good story.
It's what?
I guess that was a pretty good story.
I think it was.
Well, I think one of the concerning aspects is even when we were children, we had to have 3 to 4 vaccines. I'm not even sure the schedule. Now, how many do children have to have? 300 or 400?
I thought it was 70.
7.
It may not be 300 or 400, but it's certainly an order of magnitude over ones we had.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we go from here, Richard. That's sounds like someone is linking to you and she knows you.
Ah, good. All right.
Any more comments before we wind up?
No, we got another comment come in.
Thanks for that, Richard. I mean, I think it's really
It's a good post. It goes to the core
vaccines.
things that have woke up so many over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
What's interesting is on my show, I always talk about this stuff. And anytime I have a story about treatments for cancer, which will cure you, not just basically kill you like Big Harmia wants to do. I pass that information on to everybody. So just remember vitamin B17, people. That's the one that the government does not allow you to take.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Where do we get that, Richard, for the audience? Where do you get B17?
You get it from apricot kernels. That's where the strongest source is.
Okay.
But any apple seeds, you're always told don't eat apple seeds because they've got poisons in them. Where is it? Cyanide. And I keep telling people, no, it doesn't have cyanide, but it does have an enzyme. When combined with another enzyme, will create cyanide, and that happens in a cancer cell.
This leads me to something else that has disturbed me for a long time. A lot of these cures and treatments were known up until the early days of Rockefeller medicine, when the schools and the colleges designed to pass along the knowledge to different generations were forcibly shut down. It's almost like we have to reinvent the wheel at this point.
Right.
Well, it's not just, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, the 1917 is when all this started to happen. They really started.
That relates to the.
Yeah, the really scary stuff comes out of the university for the Rockefeller University. I mean, I understand that the other families are in bank. It's all cruel and awful, but that taste that gets into the social services and the health is particularly disgusting, which is what you see going on there with some of that.
Right. Yeah. And then her latest comment. It's being said that cancers are parasites. Well, a lot of the things that they categorize as cancer are parasites. And ivermectin will take care of that. Yeah,
that reminds me of the secret CIA study that came out 2 weeks ago that said, yeah, you're right. A lot of cancers are worms.
We got a kitty who's crazy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Whoa.
I think we should wind up now because we have a cat who's really hungry.
Okay.
You're lucky you have a white cat, Richard. He shows up well on the screen.
Whoa,
Yes.
that's going to be construed as racist.
Wow.
We're gonna get arrested under the Online Hate Act.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Let's
feline
wind
racist.
up.
You.
Richard, what's on your plate for this week?
I've got a story tomorrow I'll be doing. It's only a 20-minute story, but it's a rather interesting one. Let's see now. Where is it? It's on my I have it here. It's Ancient Aliens, 5 Shocking Mysteries Beneath Polar Ice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I figured, I
always wondered why Antarctica is one of those places we can't go visit.
Yeah. Anyways, it's an interesting set of stories. I thought, well, I'll play that. I still got to find stories for Tuesday, which will be 8 of them. And then on Wednesday, I'll take the day off. So and of course, we're going to do. And Thursday, I'll have another long story. And then Friday, I'll have my 8 stories. And then the weekend.
Next Sunday, about this time, you are going to be collaborating with me again for another episode of Roasting the Press.
Yep.
And it's always fun to do that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Today was fun.
As for Freedom Forum, we normally record. Pardon?
Yeah, Marlene's asking, what's the channel for my Swen? For my new show? It is.
Bring that up.
Yeah, bring it up on the screen there. It's on the Twitch. You're probably watching this on Twitch right now. Or no, you're watching this on YouTube, it looks like.
Oh, wow. We never get an audience on YouTube. I've never done the social media work.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm on Twitch. You can do a search, Mongo Mind Productions. And as a matter of fact, if you look on Facebook, We Are Not TV, I will post the link on that. I've sort of been lapsing on that a little bit here. But Facebook has it where you can get to the link to Twitch. But you can also do a search on Twitch for Mongo Mind Production and Swen with Richard.
Very cool. Marlene, we look forward to seeing you on other shows in the future.
Yeah.
Back to
Good
to
idea.
Freedom Forum, back to my diatribe. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
We normally record every Sunday night, 5:30 p.m. on a variety of platforms, including the one you're watching, also YouTube, also several others we discussed here. We were published next day with notes, so you can validate all of our assumptions and you can see where our original data comes from. This is published on our Substack page at chuckblack.substack.com. And most of our stories go behind a paywall after a month online. So if you'd like to maintain access, the easiest thing to do is to sign up for a monthly subscription. Nobody has to, but it helps. $20 Canadian a month, $160 per year. This entitles you to access archive posts, anything over a month old, plus include lots of stuff not covered in our regular stuff. We also have a Substack app to help you access Freedom Forum stories from your phone and subscriber chat, so you can tell us what you really, really want. My name is Chuck Black. I directed this show using StreamYards, which normally Richard and I both recommend, but only if you sign up using one of our links, Richard's link or my link. We get a little bonus out of this at the end of each month to help defray some of our costs. Marianne and Richard both contributed some great fun stories tonight. My stuff was a little dry, but both of them had some good audience participation and some good points to make. I'd be helpless without both of them. And that's all for tonight. Am I missing anything, Richard?
No, that sounds good.
Then I will see you in 2 days, Tuesday at 8 p.m. for our next edition of Last Week Today. Good night, Richard. I'll see you in a couple days.
You bet. Okay. Thanks, Marlene.